Maximus o Gymru yn y flwyddyn 303 yn gadael yn genedl gyfan a heddiw welen ni.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to CW Live. My name's Chris Webb, Head of Communications. We hope you enjoyed Yamal Heed, the Welsh anthem, which means we are still here. Very apt for tonight's session, very apt for your union. Hope you all enjoyed it. There's thousands of you on tonight. If you can help us, so there's 27,500 people now across all of our channels on. Share the YouTube link, share the Facebook link, share it on Twitter as well. Let's get thousands and thousands more on as we take our message out directly to you, the members. Obviously on our screen, our General Secretary, Dave Ward. Good evening, Dave.
Evening, everybody.
And our Acting Deputy General Secretary, Postal. Good evening, Andy Fury. Good evening, Andy.
Hi, everyone.
So good to have you guys with us. So tonight is massive. We know we've got groups of members in different brackets. Some of you want more action. Some of you want some reassurances. Some of you worry. Some of you are talking about maybe we should put Royal Mail's surrender document to a vote. All of you are going to get answers to those questions here this evening. So our plan, obviously, is to give you an update and then to take you through some of the key questions and then really to get everyone fired up and ready for the picket line tomorrow. But one thing you know from the history of these sessions is that Royal Mail Group watch every single one of them. Simon Thompson, the CEO, although he can't make it into meetings with the union when it matters, he'll be watching the session tonight. So if you're ready for tomorrow and you're behind your union before this session properly opens with Dave and Andy, simply put CW and proud in the comments now, and I'll get as many of those up on screen. Whilst you do that, I'm going to hand over to Dave to open the session. Over to you, Dave.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Just want to really give you an update and explain why we rejected Royal Mail's latest offer, go through some of the points on that, but also say to you why it's never been more important now that we really dig in. This is going to be a long dispute, as we've said before, and we'll deal with that sensibly in the coming weeks if necessary. And we'll come up with other tactics which we want to talk to you about next week, which will pile the pressure onto Royal Mail. But we have really got to be standing with each other tomorrow on those picket lines. We've got to be out there supporting our fellow workers, because this is about the very future of your jobs and the very future of the company that we've all been privileged to work for, which they're destroying in front of our eyes. And it's coming from people who've got no experience about this company. Most of the people at the top of the business now are people who probably between them haven't got more than about 2 years of running Royal Mail. And we're not prepared to pay the price for the mistakes, the gross mismanagement, which clearly have led us to this point. And you all know those arguments, and we'll reel those arguments out again tomorrow. But look, in terms of what's on offer, let me be absolutely clear. The scale of job losses that we're facing will lead to compulsory redundancies if we don't get a proper job security agreement. And Royal Mail not telling you the truth. Andy will come on to that shortly about some of the numbers, because they're going up every day. And if you look at their plans as a whole, and if you get a chance to look at this agreement, you've got to see it in the whole wider context. You'll understand why no union would ever sign up to what they're proposing, because it's a plan that's going to destroy this company, and it's a plan that's just there to make more money for shareholders. So look, in terms of where we are on the issues, no job security commitments mean what we say. The company still want to use over 11,000 agency staff while they're making our members redundant. It's not acceptable. They want to bring in owner drivers, and the latest draft talks about no limit on the amount of owner drivers coming in to replace your jobs, decent jobs that we fought for over the years. So, you know, the job security side of this is massive, and we can't accept those type of approaches from the company at a time when we know that, you know, there may be some people who want to go on voluntary redundancy. We have no problem with that, but we can't let down the people who want to stay in this business and have a decent job. And on that note, one of the things that's probably not come across as much as it should be coming across is the local plans for change that every single workplace will be facing. This is a plan where they dictate to us how much money they need to get out of the business, and you have to face the consequences of that with no serious negotiations about their plan. They want to impose those changes locally. They don't care about the people who are staying behind. They don't care about quality of service failures and what it would mean. So we can't accept that. There has to be a proper agreement that deals with job losses, that deals with change, and you have to have a say over how that change operates locally. On pay, we have made progress. We're pleased that the company have increased their offer for parcel force members from nothing, believe it or not, to the same offer now that is there for other members. There's still no good offer at all for fleet on that. But let me be clear on this point. If this was a genuine offer of 9% on basic pay, with proper backdated payment back to April last year for the 3.5% that they want to attach to us reaching an agreement, then we would probably recognise that that was a decent offer in the circumstances. And we would put it against change that we believe is reasonable. But that's not what we're talking about here. And Andy will come on to some of that and talk to you about that. On flexibility, what the company are saying, it's in the agreement, it's about you being available for them as required by them. They're the key words. Look for them in the agreement as required by management. This is not a proper flexibility agreement, a two-way street where people give and take. This is all their way or no way, and we're not going to accept that. On later starts, you know, not only is it going to be a significant issue for thousands of our members about what time do you finish, you know, pushing later starts further and further back, phasing it in over a couple of years. That might sound good in some places where people think, oh, they ain't as serious about it. Let me tell you now, they are abandoning the AM delivery period. They are forever denying themselves the opportunity to grow this business. And one of the things that really is appalling about where the company are is they have got the best reach, the best service that we provide to the public, because we deliver to 32 million addresses a day. And they don't see that as a competitive advantage. They just want the race to the bottom. And as I said, it's about managing our people out of the business, and it's about bringing in limitless owner drivers, self-employed drivers on lower terms and conditions. No union can accept that. Now, so whilst they may say that there's been small areas of progress, or they're claiming that there's been massive progress, you only have to have a look at it and know that we cannot and will not sign up to that plan. So look, tomorrow is about getting out on those picket lines. Tomorrow is about supporting the union. And tomorrow is about making sure that we deliver the biggest support so far for the strike action. We're in this for the long haul. We're going to come up with other tactics in the next week or so. We'll talk to you about those, but get out there tomorrow, support the union, support your fellow workers. This is a moment you either choose to get behind someone like Simon Thompson and this board, who couldn't even sit in the room with us and deliver the final messages because he was out talking to shareholders instead. It's not on. You know that we've got your interests at heart. You know we've got the interests of the customers. And to customers, if any of them are listening tonight, this will destroy Royal Mail as we know it.
Thank you, Dave. Fantastic. And a huge, huge swathe of support from the members. 30,381 people watching this, the biggest broadcast we've ever done in the history of Union Live. Fantastic. Andy Fury, your opening comments, mate.
Yes, evening everybody. Firstly, the Post Executive unanimously rejected the revised offer from Royal Mail earlier today, and you've heard it being called a surrender document. If this union was to embrace that proposal, we would be surrendering your terms and conditions, your job security, your ways of working, and management would be essentially ripping up everything that you've hold dear in terms of the way you perform your role and your job, and they would be jeopardizing the entire industry. Essentially, this is about destroying the Royal Mail Group as we know it today, and we can't accept that. We have to protect this service. We have to protect these jobs. It's a great industry, but it's not in safe hands with the board at the helm at the moment. That is why we have to stand up and defend this industry, defend our jobs, defend our terms and conditions. We can't accept what the employer is putting on the table. We would dearly love to be in front of you tonight with an agreement. We want an agreement. We want to reach a way forward, and we do accept that reasonable change will be part of that agreement. But unfortunately, nothing they are proposing in that agreement is reasonable, and that's why the executive unanimously rejected that offer.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant, buddy. Dave, one of the things that's come at us today is Royal Mail obviously have framed this as as they would. What a deal for the members. You know, you ain't going to have a job maybe. You know, your colleague might not be working next to you. We're going to give you some money in one hand. We're going to take it off you in the next hand. You're going to start later. All your allowances are going to be slashed. And that's before we even get through the document we're going to talk through in a minute. But why aren't the union giving you a vote on this? We did see, I want to play this to the members. We did see one of the Cockshaw managers in one of the regions create his own poll today, which went out with the members. I think we can show people this, where this was legitimate apparently from this Royal Mail manager, where people could vote multiple times. They could vote and vote, which is fantastic, because our members and our supporters got hold of it, and then soon there was panic and the poll was closed down, because obviously it wasn't going the way that manager, maybe Royal Mail in that area, had envisaged it going. Dave, I think I wanted you to talk through really, and then Andy a little bit what's at stake, and then we've got some actual facts, and then we might want to do a poll of our members as well.
Yeah, so I mean, look, in terms of what Royal Mail said about that, that's a tactic that companies pursue to try and get a bit of publicity. But our members have already voted overwhelmingly at workplace meetings this week. No confidence in the CEO, Simon Thompson. That's a vote that Simon Thompson should be listening to. We've got nothing to put into you that's worth voting on, because it would be about the destruction of the jobs in the industry that we all care so much about. We've also had an indicative vote earlier on today with all our branches. Before this session, we held a vote with our branches who have seen the documents. It was unanimous. Every single branch across our union voted absolutely to say this has to be rejected. That's on top of a unanimous vote at the executive. And we'll do an indicative poll tonight as well. You'll have the opportunity, those of you who are watching, to give your view forward. But don't be taken in by what Simon Thompson's saying. Some of the tactics that they're using can only be described as threatening, intimidating, bullying. It's all the things that they're creating in the workplace. The culture of these managers, led by the person at the top, he's got to take the blame for this. And they're trying to put it on our members that somehow by us standing up for what we believe in, defending your jobs, pay, terms and conditions, that we're in the wrong. It's not on, guys. You know that. You know that what he's doing, he has no right, having been the person and the board behind him, Keith Williams, the chair of the company, who have led us in to this crisis by their bad decisions, and they are terrible decisions that they've made, that they then try and believe, make us believe that they can lead us out of it. We can't accept it. So look, you'll see through all of that. You'll get a chance tonight. Make sure that you go in tomorrow, or you don't go in tomorrow. Let me take that one back. I meant make sure that you tell the managers next time you're in that you ain't putting up with their position any longer on what they're saying about a deal, and that you want the union to get the right deal for you. That's the key point.
Thank you, Dave. 30,705 of you on across our channels. Keep sharing, keep tagging, and definitely don't go to work tomorrow. Andy Fury, I want to come to you now. You've got this document which you were sent from Royal Mail. Birmingham Mail Centre, 122 redundancies. Gatwick Mail Centre, 114. Mount Pleasant, 130. North West Mints Mail Centre, 183. Royal Mail putting this document in front of our members with one hand and sacking them with the other hand. Any comment on that?
Well, it's absolutely outrageous. So back on I think it was the October the 14th, they went to the market and announced the loss that they were making. I think the first thing we need to ask ourselves is, how did they get themselves into such a mess when, having declared record profits in May and paid out circa 600 million to shareholders with dividends and buyback? They've got themselves into a real mess, and now they're trying to make our members pay for it. So they announced 10,000 up to 10,000 job losses back on the 14th of October. As of today, we have received the legal documentation that Chris has highlighted. And to put it into perspective, just 3 statistics. Across deliveries, just 50 units, they want 1,250 job losses which is 12.5% of the workforce. So that's 50 delivery offices. In mail centres, and this came in late last night, 29 mail centres, they want 2,370 redundancies, which is 17.8%. So on average across the 79 units is 3,600 job losses at 15.4%. So this company has started the legal consultation for 15% of job losses across 79 units. But in some of those units, it's 30%. It's astonishing. These numbers in the mail centres run to hundreds, as Chris has announced. This is compulsory redundancy. This is absolutely compulsory redundancy. And they have a cheek to say that they're offering generous terms. Their communication today said that very generous terms. They're not generous. What we used to have, and we had for 20 years, was 2 years maximum redundancy money if you had the seniority in the service and the age. That's been halved to less than a year. They're offering 9 months plus £6,000. But what they're saying is when they get to a position that if they don't have enough volunteers, they will make people compulsory redundant on statutory redundancy pay, which is a pittance. But they can say, well, look, if you sign up for the 9 months, you can avoid the statutory redundancy. That's threats, that's bullying, that's intimidation. It's no choice at all. The choice our people want, our members want, is a job, is a future, is stability, is continuity, and the certainty that they're going to get a wage every week or every month and be able to pay the bills, pay the rent and pay the mortgage. That's all our people want. And that's why we've got to oppose what this board is doing. And that's why we've got to be out in massive numbers on the picket lines tomorrow. These numbers are horrendous. And by the way, they won't stop at just 10,000 job losses. They want to double that. And we know that they're not being honest about that. They've got other plans for job losses considerably greater than what they're admitting so far.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant. 31,000 of you. Keep going, keep sharing, keep tagging your colleagues. This is going to take a little bit of time, but as Dave said there, our postal executive met today and unanimously rejected Royal Mail's propaganda. Our branches then met this afternoon in an indicative ballot and unanimously rejected it. And we want you to have a say tonight. Now, we know this isn't an exact science. We know all our members on. We know we've got some managers on who are probably eager to vote against the union. Maybe Simon will press the wrong button. He can't seem to post a video up the right way. So hopefully he'll vote in the right way this time. But we had this statement, which I thought was excellent, from one of our executive members, Tony Booch, which set out what was at stake. So I want to read this to you, and then we're going to ask you which way you want to vote, and we're going to put a link in the chat. So the offer is conditional, for your information on us, withdrawing all industrial action and the ballots, all of ballots on the table we've got. And they don't want us, and if we ballot you and you vote against this agreement, we have to assure them we will not reballot our members or take any action on pay or change matters, plus no further ballots for industrial action linked to the proposed headcount reductions on all the VR terms. So we accept this, then every single defence for you has to be surrendered. Everything proposed by Royal Mail in Section 2 of the agreement will be subject to a separate agreement covering the specific detail. However, if it's not achieved, then all of the pay doesn't get paid. None of the pay gets paid. So therefore, absolutely, in fact, nothing on offer. Going through some of the changes then, some units have been proposed with a 30% reduction in headcount. Therefore, the compulsory redundancies after 31st of March, this means a real threat of compulsory redundancies with a 30% headcount. The lump sum payment of £500 is subject to a local revision and implement of local change, still yet to be defined. So no idea if and when this could ever be achieved. Sunday premium removed for all OPGs. Overtime and Saturday SA rates, scaled down to be the same as the weekday. Sunday resourcing still subjected to threats of alternative resourcing arrangements. Seasonal hours, scanning in and out technology to be linked to payroll, flexi time introduced, and a last letter time of 1,500, and risk payments 1,700. And risk payments frozen in 23-24. Mass move to parcel offices in 346 units, obviously concentrating that in. Delivery trials linked to frameless offices, and all of our innovative duty patterns moved aside. Sounds like one hell of an offer to me. So we're going to ask you what you think. The link is going in the chat now. As we said, it's not an exact science. We're going to have the vote open for 10 minutes, but we're going to get this out to the media, which we've been doing this afternoon. But now you have your chance to have a say on the deal. The link is in the chat. So please take the time, if you can, to vote. And whilst you're doing that, Andy, I want to come on to an issue, if I can, which is about integrity and integrity in negotiations, because there's been a lot of members who are saying the union is saying one thing, Royal Mail is saying another thing. We've had like Simon Thompson at the weekend saying the union were so close to reaching an agreement with him. It was really, really close. And then, you know, I don't know what went wrong there, and behaviours need to change. You know, some people will be in the middle going, you know, I'm looking one way, looking the other. You know, who do I trust here? What would your message on integrity be, Andy?
Well, first and foremost, we tell the truth. That's what our moral compass is. We tell it as it is. We don't put any frills or any spin on it. And even if it's a difficult message, like when we had to cancel strike action, we came out and told you it straight and to the point. We don't faff around. We tell it bluntly and directly. We was in talks on Saturday. We did receive a proposal on Saturday. It was atrocious. ACAS were involved in those talks as well. Look, in terms of integrity, we're there serving your best interest day in, day out. We want to get a deal that you will be able to support and that we would be proud to recommend. We want to ensure there's a future for everybody within this industry and that your hard-fought terms and conditions continue. Ask yourself the question, what is Simon Thompson and the board's agenda? They want to casualise this industry, destroy terms and conditions, put your jobs at risk, and run you into the ground. That's what they want to do. And look, if you ever needed any evidence of what they're up to, they've actually got over 11,000 agents, full-time equivalents, agency workers in our depots, in our delivery offices, in our mail centres, in our call centres, wherever they are. And that actually is over 25,000 people. Might be 11,100 full-time equivalents, but 25,000 people, agency workers, are out there in Royal Mail land day in, day out. Now that tells you their agenda. Their agenda is to get rid of permanently employed people, get rid of your terms and conditions, and casualise this industry and have a hire and fire attitude where they will treat you like the gig economy. That's what they want, and that's why we need to ensure that we're successful in this dispute. We tell it as it is. We have your interests at heart. That can't be said for Royal Mail Board.
Thank you, Andy. Dave, one of the things I know you're always keen to avoid, and I want to give you the chance to set that again, is not doing personalities and looking at the dispute as a whole. And actually what this is about is getting a proper settlement for our members who deserve exactly that, and they don't deserve the intimidation and the gaslighting that they're facing on a daily basis. But obviously it's continued again today, and you met with Royal Mail with Andy this morning. The CEO didn't show up to that meeting. But from an observational point of view, and obviously be working closely with you guys and the officers and the executive, when every step of the way, the union have put their most senior people in the room to try and settle this dispute on behalf of the members. We've had, sometimes Simon's there, sometimes he's on screen. And when it's come to today, the day, less than 24 hours before 120,000 people take strike action, and huge impact for the postal service for every single customer, 32 million addresses in this country, the CEO says, nah, that's not important enough for me to turn up. Dave, we had 1,200 gate meetings yesterday. Over 100,000 people put their hands in the air to say this guy needs to go.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason that Simon Thompson didn't attend the meeting yesterday is because he told us that he was attending shareholder meetings. And that's what this is about. I mean, what they're telling the market is very different to what they're telling us. If any of you looked at that last week, they were still trying to present to the market that this company has got a sound future, the balance sheet's okay, we've got a great asset base. Have a look at what they actually said. So Simon Thompson does that for one reason and one reason only, because if there was closer scrutiny on the mistakes that he's made and the board have made and the chair of the board have made, then they would be sacked. So he's doing it to save his own skin. He prioritises meeting them to save his own skin rather than actually doing a deal with a union that would save the industry. And that's the reality of where the CEO is at the moment and how he operates. There are times when, I've got to say, his own side sit in the room with you at times, and they know that what is going on is not right. They know that his behaviour, which is very erratic, 1 minute you think that you're making some progress. I mean, in front of ACAS are impartial. They're not going to come out and say this, but look, I think they know what's going on here, that we've tried all the way along to try and reach an agreement. And I do want to get across to our members that the union is constantly thinking about how we can solve this dispute. We put a really sensible offer last night to the company, and it was an offer that I think they said, look, this has definitely got merit, but they came back this morning. Apparently it had gone to the board again. The board thought it had merit in how we were tackling some of the change issues in a different way, giving us the opportunity to have a proper look at it, jointly problem solve some of these issues and come up with a better plan for the future that could grow the business. And all they could say is well, if we do that, we won't be changing quick enough, and we'll be giving you money, and we've got no guarantee that locally the change will actually take place. And this bit about local change is hugely important to us, because we cannot leave you as a group of members when others who choose to go on voluntary redundancy in this next round of redundancies go. We can't leave you in a position where the company is saying this is the change that you've now got to accept locally. You won't be able to do the workload if we take that approach. It's got to be properly negotiated by your reps, by our area reps being involved, by our branches being involved. That's how we move change forward. And every union must adhere to that kind of principle. And what they're suggesting on that is no, it's more imposed change. So these people are just not truthful in the approach that they're taking. Very frustrating, but it will never stop us trying to reach an agreement. And whether Simon Thompson is in the room or not, I think it's becoming clear now that he's not really the person to lead us out of where we are and actually build this business for the future. And I think there are a lot of people in business who would see that and recognise that. And I reckon there's going to be a lot of shareholders once we speak to them in the next week or so and explain our side of the story, who will understand that as well.
Thank you, Dave. Brilliant. Keep putting the link in the chat. There's 11,000 of you so far who have cast your vote. I don't get to see what the result is. The team here in the building with us right until the end, so we're on nervous tenterhook to see how you're voting. But obviously, we hope you're back in the union. Only a few more minutes, and I'll close up that poll and put the results on screen. Andy, I want to come to you for tomorrow then. So I want just to give you the chance to give a message to members on just how important is it they get on to the picket line tomorrow. And obviously, we want to make sure everything's calm, everything's legal, six on the picket line, all of our supporters in the right places and stuff like that. We've been getting word today that Royal Mail will be even hotter on picket lines tomorrow, trying to get people in trouble. We can see they're trying to get people out the door by any means possible. So people have to, be really calm, really responsible. But just how important is it that we deliver the biggest set of picket lines and supporters that this union has ever seen tomorrow on Friday?
Well, this needs to be, firstly, across all of our units, all of our business units, right across the Royal Mail Group, to include Parcelforce and Fleet and Royal Mail and all the separate smaller business units. And what I would say to our members is that, look, there has been progress. Give an example, Parcelforce, the management as of last night have now offered the 3.5% to our Parcelforce members and a 1.5% from April. So our action and our efforts has actually got a better offer for our Parcelforce members. Fleet are still being treated as a second-class citizen. Parcelforce, they're not offering the £500 lump sum linked to change. So they are trying to create fish of one and fowl of another. But the reality is we are united. We are one union, one workforce, one membership, and we need to be out on those picket lines together in all of those areas, picketing respectfully, treating people with dignity and respect, but having our voice heard and being seen. We can do that, and we will do that in peaceful way, what means. But we also got to make sure that we don't give anybody any excuse to suspend anybody. We've had a couple of our representatives from East London suspended today, which is absolutely outrageous. They're trumped up charges. They are out to get our reps. and we can't accept that under any circumstances. We will not tolerate bullying and harassment and intimidation of our reps. We've just got to make sure that we pick it peacefully and have our voice heard. And I'm certain we would do that in all of the workplaces up and down the length and breadth of the country, whether that's in fleet units, whether that's in parcel force depots, whether that's in Royal mail centres or delivery offices or call centres, wherever we are, we've got to make sure the CWU members are seen to be loud and proud, but also respectful and peaceful. Thanks very much on that.
Brilliant, Andy. Thank you. Keep sharing the link, keep tagging your friends, keep voting. I can see now we've got 12,700 people have voted in the poll. That's brilliant. I'll stick it in the link again in a minute. I'll put it up about 20 times for those people who are missing it. I'll keep doing it. It's because there's so many of you commenting as well. Maybe you're missing it, which is great to see the level of interaction. Dave, I want to talk about resolving the dispute because obviously we're in the eye of the storm here. But I want you really, and obviously Andy, if he wants to comment as well on the back of it, because you're sort of senior negotiators for the union, to just put across, how the union want an agreement. I think to reassure our members, and I suppose there will be people going like, where does this end? Like they're kicking the hell out of us. We're throwing some punches back. It's the same circle. Are we winning? Are we breaking through? I want to say this actually. I went through the workplace platform this afternoon and I found 6 Simon Thompson posts in the last 5 months saying this is our final offer. And they're nowhere near where we want it to be, but each time it's crept up. And that's no coincidence. That's got because he's a nice bloke and he's a really kind man and he wants to help people. That's because our members' support has moved him clearly. But can we move the employer day to a place, where we get an agreement? And does this strike action help that?
Yeah, certainly we can. And I want to go through what we see as an agreement that would resolve both the pay and change disputes. I can't go through every single bit of detail, but give you, an overview of the type of agreement that we believe we could get and that we could put to our members and ask for their support on. So the first thing is we do need some very clear guarantees from the company about the future direction of the company. And that's about giving us that commitment that they're not going to turn this into a separate parcel company, that they're not going to end years and years of Royal Mail as a brand, and effectively that they're not going to turn Royal Mail delivering parcels into a GLS style model with owner drivers instead of our members delivering that work. So we'd want that commitment. We'd want a commitment from the company that they're serious about protecting the universal service, that they're serious about the public service side of what we do. So, what we keep saying to them is they have got the best advantage, competitive advantage of any company because they deliver to 32 million addresses every day. So we want them to join with us in developing a strategy, which we put out in our recent document, that would expand the role of postal workers. Now, what they're saying about that is, we're up for that. We do want to work with you on that. We recognise that actually you've come up with some good stuff there. The problem is, if they abandon the AM delivery period, there will never be an opportunity to grow those products and services that will build this company future success. We need a proper job security agreement. We've explained that earlier on. You can't have a situation where there's 11,000 agency staff staying in Royal Mail while our members are being kicked out the door. We can't accept that. You can't have a situation where they're bringing in self-employed workers while our members are being kicked out the door. So we want proper agreements on job security. And we want also to know that when you deal with local change, that you can negotiate that change. It can't be about their figures on getting rid of people and leaving you to just carry on without being able to clear the workload. It's got to be a proper deal. On flexibility, it's got to be two-way. You've got to have the opportunity. You can't just hand over to managers telling you when you've got to work, when you're, what time you're going to end, that you've got no say over that whatsoever. No one calls that flexibility. And we've got to have a proper agreement that is linked to pay. And I said earlier on, backdated money is important to our members. So they've put this so-called 9% offer. And I was honest enough to say, if there was a genuine 9% offer on basic pay on the table now, linked to change that we know we can agree, that would move this company forward, and it was backdated properly, then we think we'd probably be close to reaching an agreement on that. But if you add into that all of the allowances they want to slash and all of the other things that are going on here, that ain't a 9% offer, and you'll see that for yourself. I think the final thing that I would say is that we want a proper agreement about the parcel network. We said to you the other night that the choices that are being put in front of us are really about moving Royal Mail into those other style of parcel networks. We can't accept that. We want those, our parcel force members who we want to look after here completely, we want them to come into Royal Mail, work with us and our members on the same terms and conditions. So we want to harmonise and level up terms and conditions. But importantly, we want our members, CWU members, whether in Royal Mail or Parcel Force, doing those jobs in the new networks. Now, we've put forward a proposition where we could get those networks up and running properly in an efficient way and in one that can attract future parcel growth. But it's got to be done within the core business, and we've got to look after our people and make sure that they've got jobs where you can actually deliver the work that you're being asked to. So there's so many things in there, but I'd like one time to actually set out this in writing and let you see the proposal that we put even last night. Because I think if these people were serious about doing a deal, the proposal we put last night is one that would have moved this company forward, and it would have been in the interest of customers as well.
Thank you, Dave. Andy, do you want to comment on that, buddy?
We need an agreement which I would call safeguarding the future of the Mail's business for our letters and parcel members, and we need that now going forward. What I'm taken by is the fact that less than a week ago, Simon Thompson went to the markets and said, we've got a recovery program, we're okay, we're on track. Then he says to us, or not him, his representatives last night at the meeting said, well, we can't afford to backdate the 3.5% to April. So there's total mixed messages coming from them. The reality is that they want to try and get away with murder and abuse our members, and we can't have that. So look, we do want an agreement. We do want a future for our members, but it can't be on the terms that they're putting across. It is a surrender document they put for us. It would absolutely tear up any terms and conditions, ways of working that it. You will be at the beck and call of management. They would tell you when to come in. They would tell you when to go home. They would tell you everything you have to do. And the point Dave's making cannot be underestimated. If we was to lose 30% and 20% of workers from each of our workplaces, just think of what that job's going to be like afterwards. How would people cope with the workload? It's just impossible to imagine what that job would look like. You're going to be run absolutely ragged. You won't have any spare time. And of course, what it will be is it will be the survival of the fittest. And what management want to do through their performance mechanisms and such like is get rid of people who they don't see as being part of the future. So look, we want an agreement, but it must include safeguarding the future of the Mail's business and ensuring that we have decent job protection and security and good earnings potential and a good pension going forward. The alternative is that they would just simply destroy this industry, and it will be a pale shadow of what the industry is today, and the service to the customer will just go out the window, and it will go the way of the competitors. Royal Mail should provide quality service, decent quality service for delivering parcels and letters, and that's what we want to do with our members, properly rewarded with proper job security.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant. Right, both of you. I think the results are in. I've just got the screenshot. I'm excited to tell this. So obviously, the first thing to say, we're not going to do what Royal Mail done and one of that Royal Mail manager and put a ballot and say where people can vote 20 times and can we go out to their friends, family, neighbours or whatever, and it's completely kosher. But our ballot was obviously one person, one vote on. We put out the link here. We know it had been infiltrated by a few managers and a few people perhaps shouldn't vote, non-members, etc. But it's just an indicative process. So, but I think it's a pretty emphatic indicative process, the result I'm about to announce. So we had 14,412 people vote. So stunning levels of interaction. So thank you to everyone who came onto this link. I mean, there's no other union that could compare with that in terms of the speed of getting that number of people vote. and I can confirm you're going to see the result on screen now. Of those 14,412, 98.9% of the union members or supporters today have rejected Royal Mail's proposal. 98.9% of people voting in this poll say no to Royal Mail, say yes to supporting the union, yes to the strikes going on. Dave Ward, your reaction to that?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because I think people have heard us enough times now say what's at stake, and they've seen various elements of the company's proposal. So that's really pleasing to know that you're behind the union. We know you are anyway. I think that people are in a place where, yes, they do want an agreement, and we want an agreement as well. And we can provide a future for Royal Mail. This is a moment where, if people step back and if you brought independent people in to look at what they're proposing as a company for the future and what we're proposing, I think we would get enormous backing across the public, across businesses who rely on the service, and all the people that you go out into your communities and you interact with on a daily basis, our members. They would back us 100%, because this is not a union that's not saying we're up for change. Far from it. We actually want proper modernisation that we agreed to only 18 months ago under the Pathway to Change agreement. We want one parcel network, but one that is genuinely going to be able to capture parcel growth with our members being able to deliver those parcels at times. Whenever the company, we're up for a 24/7 network. We've said that. We signed up to that a couple of years back. We want change in products and services. We want the company to use the competitive advantage that it's got in delivering to all of these addresses every single day. We could do some fantastic stuff in terms of where the economy is at the moment, how we could tailor services to local businesses, how we could help the UK recover in terms of the economy. And we've put some of that stuff. I didn't touch on this earlier on, but I do want to say this. We also offered the company yesterday the opportunity to jointly go to government and to have a discussion about how we can sustain the universal service in an economic way. But we said to the company, we'll do that. We'll go and sit with you and talk about the options there. But what we also want is you to come with us and back our plan to expand the role of postal workers and see how the government can start to support, one of the best companies in the UK carrying on connecting with communities. We've got some great ideas that will feed into that process. And that should really be what's informing the sort of infrastructure change that the company are putting forward. They're not interested in that, though. They're interested in hitting numbers of job losses to get out of the crisis which they've created by their appalling decisions on giving money away to shareholders, ending the cross subsidy from GLS. Why did they do that when they knew that we were facing some difficult times economically? You've got to say that it's because they're not interested in the future that we're interested in and our members are interested in, which is decent jobs, great service to the public, innovation. Let's build this company. We can still do that, and we're going to battle on as long as it takes to make sure that's the type of agreement that we get.
Thank you, Dave. Fantastic. Andy, your closing message to the members ahead of the strike action tomorrow.
Well, thanks very much for that indicative vote, everybody. As Dave says, we're not surprised by it, because the so-called offer, which I think Royal Mail tried to coin as an agreement, it is outrageous, and it is the surrender document. In terms of tomorrow and Friday, we need maximum support. We need high visibility on the picket lines. We need people's courage to remain, determination and resilience. Look, we would much prefer to be getting behind an agreement that was fair and reasonable, but we're not at that stage yet. But your sacrifice and your commitment will get us a better deal. We've already, as Chris said, we've already seen the improvements, but it doesn't go far enough. And the other thing is, just look at whilst tomorrow's strike is on change, pay is very, very much in the mix with the offer. And let's just look at their offer. It's not 9%. It's the value of 2% in a lump sum. That's a one-off payment, and that'd be subject to tax and insurance. That's peanuts for the change they want. It's then 7%, but it's not 7% over the 2 years. They impose 2%. They're not prepared to backdate the 3.5%, and they're only offering 1.5% for next year. This is not big money, and yet they've squandered massive amounts of money, millions and millions and millions. So they can do a lot better. This was a school report. They would be having an E on their report and be told to do so much better by you. You deserve so much better. You deserve respect and dignity from an employer that's not giving that to you at the moment. Stand strong, stand firm, and together we will deliver a better future for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant. Dave, I want to put one question to you, and I want you to answer that, and I want to come back for your final thoughts. The question I want to put to you, frame it in the right way, is around our Parcel Force members, and perhaps Fleet a little bit as well. They have been used as an add-on to Royal Mail. And what that's left some of them thinking is wrongly, mistakenly, but it's we're an add-on to everybody, maybe an add-on to Union. And you and Andy have emphatically every single session been saying this is the Royal Mail group, no matter what function you're in, we're settling nothing until we settle for everybody. But from a Parcel Force member's perspective, they've certainly been targeted, haven't they, in the last sort of week by Royal Mail. Let's just say it what it is. They've had the strike-breaking bribe Royal Mail tried to put to them last Friday, where they say, you come into work, we'll give you 300 quid over this weekend. This week it's, we'll give you the same pay as we give Royal Mail. They're trying to build some form of strike-breaking army, if you like, amongst our Parcel Force members. Just how important is it that Parcel Force members understand they got us back a strike action tomorrow? And can we kill this? You're not part of the union thing, the Parcel Force members.
Well, I think sometimes some of our own people sort of perpetuate that. You work for the Royal Mail Group. We're not separate companies. We're one company. We're one union. And we've made it clear on so many occasions that we don't do deals for this part of the membership versus that part of the membership. We do agreements that are in everybody's interest. And one of the things actually that we've told Royal Mail, they keep providing us with documents that are like 3 separate agreements. We keep going back to them with one agreement, with the same job security, with the same level of pay. And actually, the reason that the offers got better is because of our efforts and because the union is looking after all of our members. So it's gone from nil. I mean, that was astounding that the first offer for Parcel Force was actually nothing. Well, now they've put it on the table at the same level as Royal Mail, with the exception of this £500 payment against change. Fleet, they still haven't produced really the type of agreement that we want. Don't forget as well, our members in Fleet, they want to outsource Fleet. They want to get rid of people in Fleet as well. And we're not accepting outsourcing. We're looking after every single member. We're one union. We work for the same company, the Royal Mail Group, and you're all part of that. So sometimes think more holistically about what you're part of within the union than you're just part of that section. When you hear us talking about we want to bring the two together, that is for one reason and one reason only. We want to bring everybody in our union to the best possible terms and conditions and have the same level of job security as everybody else. It's the company that want to separate things, and they want to separate them for reasons that we've gone through tonight. So, bear that in mind all the time. The offers improve for our Parcel Force members because the unions forced that out of the company.
Thank you, Dave. Brilliant. So you did it yesterday. In your tens of thousands, you told the CEO you wanted him to go. Let's do it again now. Just simply put Thompson out in the comments if you want a change of leadership in the company. Thompson out in the comments. And Dave, I want you to close up the session with some final thoughts, mate. Okay,
final thoughts from me. We want an agreement. We will continue to do everything possible, and we will publish the offer that we put to the company last night, so that you see that we're still continuing to think about ways of resolving this dispute, and we're going to carry on doing that. And we'll be in there with negotiations. Thompson wants to meet us. Royal Mail want to meet us. We've got our views on how we can push that forward as well. So we want that. But look, let's not underestimate here. We cannot accept and I'm saying this to you from a point of view of been around a long time. There is no union in the country that would accept the type of job losses, terms and conditions that they're attaching to any agreement. It's just not on. And no customer who cares about Royal Mail would accept that either. So this is a fight for the very future of all of the jobs in Royal Mail. Everybody, every single member, no matter what section of the company you work for, no matter what office you work in, you are going to be impacted on this. We have to stand together now. You've got to face up to the reality. It's a choice of either you back someone like Simon Thompson, who has no interest in the future other than his own, or you back the union that stood by our members time and time again. You stand by us, we stand with you. Let's get out there tomorrow on strike. Let's get as many people as we can out and around the picket lines whilst observing the legal protocols there that we keep on talking about. Let's make sure we behave on the picket lines, but let's show Simon Thompson we ain't having him as the CEO telling us how to run this business. We stand for the business, the customers, the members. Get out there. The union will win this dispute if you get out there tomorrow and you support the strike. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Dave. Brilliant. So first of all, thank you to Dave. Thank you to Andy for giving your time up. I know all of us are up again at 6 o'clock for a load of interviews tomorrow morning, but we're ready to go. We're up for it. We know you are too. So thank you to the members. 34,000 of you came on tonight, the biggest session the union has ever held, but you can make sure it gets to every single member. Share the link, get the messages out. We're going to be clipping highlights in the next couple of hours as well, working through the night to make sure we get as much information to you. It's all of our job to build the union. It's all of our jobs to build the strike, and it's all of our jobs to build the picket line. Every single one of us have invested a huge amount of our working lives in this company. It's our company too, and we're not going to stand by and see it handed over to the Spibs. Get out on the picket line tomorrow, everyone. Victory to the CW. See you later on.
Maximus a Gymru, and a flwyddyn 303.